In this video, we are going to learn about preparing questionnaires, which is unit 12 of your grammar text, S2 grammar. So, we'll begin by looking at questionnaire. So, this is a questionnaire that is given in your text. So, you can follow this model when you're framing your questionnaire for the exam. So, the question is prepare a structured questionnaire to assess the pattern of electricity consumption in your residence association. So, you can see, let's look at the form of this questionnaire. You can see that it begins with a title, Koikil Residence Association. So, the title of the questionnaire should be decided according to the situation, according to the question. So, the question here is to assess the pattern of electricity consumption in a residence association. So, this has been distributed to the members of a particular residence association. So, a random name has been given, Koikil, along with the term residence association. Now, the next line should be, the term questionnaire. Now, 1, 2, 3, which I have rounded, these are basic information of the respondent. The questionnaire is always given to somebody, so you have to enter your details. So, when you give a questionnaire to somebody, you collect information about that person. So, in every questionnaire, you should ask their personal details. So, here the personal details asked are name, address, and mobile number. So, for the exam, you can begin your questionnaire by asking these three questions. Okay. Now, the questions regarding the actual questionnaire begin from question number 4. So, you can see, look at the form of these questions. Pattern of occupation, total number of occupants, total number of members who work, nature of electricity connection of the house, total units of electricity consumed every billing cycle, total number of household appliances. See, so you notice that it's not a complete sentence, it's a phrase. So in a questionnaire, it is acceptable to use phrases conveying the appropriate meaning. You can also use sentences. For example, for question number 5, you can also ask in this manner, you can actually complete the sentence and ask, what is the total number of occupants? You can either ask in that manner, or you can just use a phrase like total number of occupants in order to ask a question in a survey, in a questionnaire. Okay, so you have to frame your questions according to the question. So, electricity consumption pattern assessment, requires all these information. So, what all information is required, you should think carefully and frame questions accordingly. The form of the question can be either a phrase or a complete sentence. Now, if you are asking uh, a question, if it's a phrase, you can put a full stop or a question mark as is given in the text. A full stop would be more appropriate. But if you are giving a whole sentence, what is the total number of members who work, then you should definitely end that with a punctuation, with the punctuation question mark. Okay. Now, look at the answers. Look at the way the answers are given. They are all options. Now look at the questions. The question is prepare a structured questionnaire. So when it is specifically mentioned structured questionnaire, then this is the manner in which you have to ask the questions and give the answers. You must give choice, multiple choice questions. Okay, you cannot ask total number, what is the nature of electricity connection of the house, and not give any options. In a structured questionnaire, you always have to give options. Now look at the number of options. It should be ideally it should be 4. Okay, or at least 3. Two options are also given here. You should ideally put the number of choices to 4. Okay, now let's look at a few more questions in the next page. So questions 10 and 11 is a yes or no question. So in a yes or no question, there can only be 2 choices. The 11th question is another multiple choice question. Okay, so there are 11 questions in this questionnaire. So when you are attempting a questionnaire for your exam, if it's for a 15-mark question, that is as part of the essay, then you should definitely increase the number of questions that you ask. About 15 questions should be asked according to the marks. At least 15 should definitely be included. Questions should be included. If it's a 4-mark question, you can include say 4, 5 or say 6 questions. So the number of questions that you prepare in the questionnaire should be decided according to the marks of the question. Okay, so now we look at the types of questions that can be asked in a questionnaire. Before that, what is a questionnaire? So we looked at an example, so I'm sure you have come across questionnaires, but we look at a formal definition of what a questionnaire is. You don't have to by heart this definition. All you have to learn for the exam is how to write a questionnaire. All these theoretical portions need not be by hearted. So what is a questionnaire? It is a document for collecting information in a structured and systematic manner. So you saw the example. You are trying to collect information from somebody, and they are not random questions. They are very systematically and logically sequenced, right? So why do we give a questionnaire? We give a questionnaire for various reasons. It can be a part of a research, or it can be part of a market survey. So companies organize, the various organizations distribute questionnaires in order to basically to collect information in a structured and systematic manner. Now, what are the types of questionnaires? We already saw one, structured or close-ended questionnaire. So we saw that. So what is a structured or close-ended questionnaire? The questions in such a questionnaire offer options. So for example, how popular is X detergent in your house? Extremely. You give 4 options. Extremely popular, very popular, not very popular, unpopular. So you have choices for the questions. So such a questionnaire is called a structured or close-ended questionnaire. The second kind of questionnaire is unstructured or open-ended, where you do not provide options. For example, the question, what makes you suitable for this job? The answer can be anything. You are not giving any options. Mixed questionnaire is a questionnaire which has a mix of both structured questions and unstructured questions, that is, open ended and close ended questions. The last questionnaire is picture based questionnaire, which will give you pictures as part of the questions. Now, when you are asked a structured questionnaire specifically, then you should only write structured questions, that is, questions with options. But if you are asked a questionnaire, simply prepare a questionnaire, or you are asked prepare a mixed questionnaire, you should put in a mix of both open ended questions, that is, questions without options, and also questions with options. It should be a mix of both kind of questions. So, what are the types of questions that you can ask as part of a questionnaire? Open ended questions, that is, the options are not given. Close ended, that is, options will be given. Scaled questions, they are close ended questions, but the options determine the degree of a response, opinion, or position. For example, it will be a parameter like what we saw earlier. Popular, we saw an example, right? Extremely popular, not popular, very popular, a little, slightly popular. So, what is it? It's a degree of uh, a parameter. So, such questions are called scaled questions. Now, the third kind of question, ranking question. Rank the amenities of your college. What rank would you give? Uh, so you will be given a scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can give your appropriate options. Now, yes or no questions, the next kind of question, yes or no question. Lastly, true or false question. So these are the possible questions that you can ask in a questionnaire. Okay. So we will see the examples in the next slide. So look at the first question. A. Question number A. What is your assessment of today's young generation? No options are given. So it is a open-ended question. Question B. How important is technology in your life? It is a open-ended question. There are no options given. Question number C. How much money do you spend every month on mobile phones? Options are given. So what is it? It's a close-ended question. Option Question D. Do you think the present young generation is more intelligent than previous generations? Yes or no. Two options are given. So it's a yes or no question. Question E. Use of internet while studying improves a student's chance of scoring in exams. Strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. This is a scaled question. Agreement, the parameter agreement is measured. Okay, so this is an example of a scaled question, which is a close-ended question, of course, because it has options. Now, question number F. Rank the following activities on your course by their usefulness. And a scale is given 1 to 5. 1 is most useful. I'm sorry you're not able to see it properly. 5 is least useful. And you are given 4 options: lectures, tutorials, group presentations, project work. So you can, how would you answer this? 1 is most useful for some, so something like lecture you will put 1, tutorials you will put 2, group presentations 3, project work 4. So this is an example of a ranking question. This is also a subcategory of close-ended questions because it has options. Now the next question, it's a yes or no question. Do you agree students should involve themselves in politics? Yes, no. There are just two options. And the last is a true or false question. Are you a self-driven person? True or false? Okay, so these are the various kinds of questions that can be found in a questionnaire and that you can include as part of your questionnaire. So the next slide will talk about how to write effective survey questions. So we have all been given questionnaires. What is our attitude to questionnaires? You know, it is not, we don't have to, fill in the questionnaires. Usually it's the person who's distributing the questionnaire who needs it. He needs our answers. We actually are doing it, uh, you know we are doing a favor to them. So our attitude towards answering questionnaires would be, like we would like to have it as easy as possible. We would like to spend minimum time on it. So the questionnaires should be framed accordingly. That is, it should take minimum amount of time to be answered. It should not, our time should not be, the respondent's time should not be wasted. He should be able to answer it very easily. So that is the our aim while we are preparing a questionnaire. So what should we keep in mind when we are framing questions? So the first tip is keep it simple and short. It should take the least time to read, understand, and answer. So the questions, uh, should be easy to understand so that the respondent can easily answer it. So an example of how you can make your questions easy. The two questions given here, one should be avoided. I have put a cross across it, and the second one against which I have put a tick mark. That is how you can frame it in an easy manner. So it's the same question that is being asked, but it's framed in two different ways. So in the two ways in which, the same thing can be asked in your day-to-day personal life, how would you prioritize spending quality time with your family? Now this is difficult to understand. The same thing can be asked in an easy manner. How important, very simply, how important is time with your family? The second way is easier to understand. So you should always frame your questions in such a manner that it's easy for the respondent to comprehend. So keep it simple and short. That is the first tip. The second tip is have a single focus. That is, you should not ask 2 3 things in your question. It should have a single answer. You should only ask for one answer in a question. So look at the examples. The first way is what you should avoid. The first sentence that I have written down, I put a cross against it, is wrong. Don't ask questions like that. How important is reading in your life, and how much time do you spend on reading every day? Now, these two things should not be included as part of one question. They should be split up because they ask two things. So, the correct way to ask would be how important is reading in your life is one question, and how much time do you spend on reading every day should be the second question. The third tip, avoid leading questions. Now, what is a leading question? Look at the example that I have given here. That is a leading question. You should not employ leading questions. Many newspapers have severely criticized the state government for the lapses in the security measures to prevent Naxalite activities. What is your view on it? That is the question. Now, in this question, already a view is implied. And what is the view? It is the view that the state government has had lapses and that many newspapers have blamed them. So, already a negative opinion is formed in the question, in that statement. So, you cannot give an opinion or you cannot impose an opinion in your question. You should be neutral. So, how would you ask this neutrally? What is your view on the security measures taken by the government to prevent Naxalite activity? So, this is a neutral question which does not already have a shadow of what the expected answer is. If there's nothing negative about this question, the respondent is free to frame his own opinion. So, leading questions where you already imply an opinion in the question is to be avoided. Question number 4, tip number 4, be specific, and tip number 5, avoid jargon, technical terms, or acronyms. So, all these tips, the aim is through all these tips, the aim is to make the questionnaire as easy as possible. However, making it easy does not mean that it is not clear. It should be very clear and it should be very precise and very specific and, of course, grammatically accurate. So these are the things that you should remember while framing a questionnaire. So before wrapping up the lesson, we'll look at another example of a questionnaire. Now this is another example. So there's a title, online learning survey. Uh, that is the title. So this is the aim of the survey is explained here. The aim of the survey is to discover the general attitudes of students related to online learning and coronavirus pandemic. Okay. So in the text, such a description is not given, so you can avoid uh, the subtitle that is given or the explanation that is given here. You can just follow the format given in the text, but I would like to point out the questions that are given as part of the questionnaire. So question number 1, options are given. Question number 2, again options are given. Gender. 3, education. These are all information relating to the respondent. Now the actual questions begin at question number 4. Do you have proper internet access at home? And it is clarified further, the question is clarified further. Exactly what the author refers to internet access is clarified. Options given, yes, limited, or no. Question number 5. So these are all close ended questions. Question number 5. What is the main reason you have limited internet access? Option 1, don't know how to use it. 2, too expensive. 3, signals availability or strength problems. And 4, other. So look at the answers. They are not complete sentences but meaningful phrases. Question number 6 is what kind of a question is it? It's a scaled question. I am pretty good at using the computer. A statement is given and a parameter is measured. Agreement. Strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. Question number 7, again a scaled question. I am comfortable communicating electronically. Again, a scale of answers is given. Question number 8, a statement is given and you have to answer in the correct scale. Question number 9 is again a scaled question. So, how do you frame a scaled question? You give a statement and you are given the various options. So, agreement is not the only measure. You can use other terms, popular, or you can measure popularity. You can measure various parameters. It's not just agreement that you can measure. Question number 10 again, 11, 12, 13, 14. They are all scaled questions. So this questionnaire majorly consists of scaled questions. So when you prepare a questionnaire for your exam, please put in a mix of all kinds of questions, both open-ended and the different kinds of close-ended questions. If you find it difficult to frame a scaled question, you can avoid it. You can stick to yes or no questions or true or false questions, or these questions which offer multiple options. Okay, so you can follow all these things while framing a questionnaire.